And Hillary Clinton nearly stormed out of her closed-door testimony to U.S. lawmakers about Jeffrey Epstein after a photo of her from the deposition was leaked. Newly released video footage shows. Well, the video footage released on Monday by the House Oversight Committee shows hours of testimony given by both Clinton and her husband, former U.S. President Bill Clinton, sitting for separate depositions last week and denying any prior knowledge of late sex offender Epstein's crimes. While neither Clinton has been accused of any wrongdoing by Epstein's victims, Bill is included in investigative files related to the sexual predator, including photos. His inclusion spurred calls for the couple's depositions.
Come out and play a few holes with us. And he somehow knew I had flown in Jeffrey Epstein's aircraft, and he said, you know, we had some great times together over the years, but we fell out, all because of a real estate deal. And he said, I'm sorry it happened. That's all.
Do you recall whether President Trump elaborated at all on the great times that he had with Jeffrey Epstein?
No, and at the time, I didn't put any, sexual spin on it.
I had no idea about their criminal activities. I do not recall ever encountering Mr. Epstein. I never flew on his plane or visited his island, homes, or offices. I have nothing to add to that. Like every decent person, I've been horrified by what we have learned about their crimes. It's unfathomable that Mr. Epstein initially got a slap on the wrist in 2008, which allowed him to continue his predatory practices for another decade.
Well, for more on this, Arise special correspondent James Blue joins me now on the line from London. Glad to have you join me, James. Straight out, Hillary Clinton nearly stormed out of the deposition after a video footage of her was released. What really transpired?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Hillary, she nearly stormed out of the deposition after it was made known to her that a footage of her photo was released by the committee. So,
look, I think what the testimony really shows is the way in which both Clintons are fully exasperated by the actual circus, as they think, of having to go answer to these committee questions and to answer the subpoena. Certainly, Mrs. Clinton thought that she was there for no reason at all because she doesn't have any sort of relationship with Mr. Epstein. I think President Clinton was different because he did sort of spend time with Jeffrey Epstein, and he's pictured on the plane and sort of doing things. And so I think his outrage was a little less authentic. They both are just very, very upset that President Trump is not on the witness list and that President Trump is not someone who's being asked about this.
About Trump now, while all this is on, the U.S. Justice Department have been accused of withholding Trump-related Epstein files. James.
Well, look, I think they are sort of being questioned about bias because they are, in some ways being very selective about what goes out. They're being very selective about who gets called. They're being very selective. There were people who made accusations against President Trump, and their details were not included in the papers that were released. And so I think there is a legitimate call for an investigation into bias and whether the information that's being released is being released in a way that has an impact on the information available to the American people.
All right, let's talk about the shooting in Austin, Texas. Death toll has risen to 3, 14 others wounded in the shooting, 3 hospitalized in critical condition. I think there's talk about removing one of them from life support. What more can you tell us on this front? And also, authorities have, I think they've gone to his house, they've checked his computer, his house. They want to now check his computers and his phones. Have they found anything?
No, I mean, I don't think they've found anything concrete yet, but I think they are certainly trying to understand who this person was. Apparently, he scoped out the bar several times before coming back and beginning the shooting. It was full of students from the nearby University of Texas. It's not necessarily a target rich area. If you were thinking you wanted to do something in retaliation to the attack on Iran, you wouldn't necessarily go to a student bar. Having said that, they have found sort of expressions and things that he said that make them suspicious. But whether he is just sort of an individual or whether this is something that is part of a bigger issue, we just don't know.
Yeah, indeed. I think we're going to leave it there because FBI is saying there's evidence of potential terrorism in this shooting incident. He was wearing a hoodie with property of Allah and then some other things. We keep our fingers crossed and see what plays out. Thank you so much, James Blue, Arise Special Correspondent, all the way from London.